Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is a bad business video, and in today's episode we're going to be looking into some weapons that I would really like to see added to bad business. So, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, every Friday the game gets updated, and currently they're doing revamps and adding maps and adding guns and doing all kinds of wonderful things to make this Roblox shooter even better, and there's a couple of tools that I would like to see showcased in the coming future. This is not a realistic list of guns to expect, nor do I expect them to be added, but it's more of a fantasy list on a couple of, for this video in particular, a couple of assault rifles I would love to see. And I've not picked anything too crazy, anything too unexpected. It's just a couple of guns that resonate with me that I would love to see added to my favourite first-person shooter at the moment. And what I'm going to do here, ladies and gentlemen, is there's going to be some gameplay playing in the background, and then we're going to jump over to some gameplay with these weapons from some games that you can use them in as an example for a visual representation for you, so you can see what I mean if you've not seen it before. You can also look into these weapons, should you choose to, for potential ideas when it comes to attachments, because you can learn about the fire rate, you can learn about the muzzle velocity, all the different magazine sizes, all the different barrels and the modular attachments for them for some creativity on that front. But this is just going to be a pretty basic, these guns are sexy and I want to enjoy something that I find sexy with my audience. So without further ado, the very first one is the Sig Mcx. And this is a gun that you might know from another name, thanks to Modern Warfare 2019, and I think that this is one of the most beautiful assault rifles that I can think of. I love the design of it, it just screams modern, and here is some footage of it in the background. So as you can see, guys, the iron sight is nothing too special, it's kind of a standardized one, lots of people like that particular one, but I just feel like it's a really, really pretty gun, and I'm all about that look of the weapons. The gun pornography, as I like to call it. Don't Google that, you'll probably get in trouble. But it's a very good assault rifle, it looks great, it feels good, and I'm one of those people that when I like the gun I'm using, and I like it on an artistic and personal level, I feel like I do better with it. So it's a super incentive to put something just that extra sexy into the mix. And then the second one that's going to be on this list is another kind of classic one that you might have played before, and if you've listened to my videos in the past, you've heard me sing the praises of this gun because it's one of the most iconic assault rifles from Call of Duty. You'll notice a lot of these weapons are in Call of Duty, but if you play Battlefield and other modern first-person shooters, you can see some of these derivatives too. But the second one is the Remington Acr, not to be confused with the Bushmaster variant that's in Modern Warfare 2. This is specifically the Modern Warfare 3 variant of the Acr, and it has really iconic iron sights. It was an incredible workhorse in that game, one of the greatest guns, competed with almost everything on every possible range, just an absolute unbridled force of dominance in that game, and as you can see here from the gameplay, this was easily the most overused weapon in the game along with the MP7, and I never once got bored of it. There's just something sacred about my nostalgia for this gun, and just for the utility of it. It's just... I can't even describe how much it made me happy, and I used it a lot. I mean, that was 10 years ago now, it's a long time ago, and my memories of it are still so strong. So if this was added to bad business, I would just smile like a very entertained schoolgirl, and there ain't nothing better than that when you're getting something as amazing as the Remington Acr. So moving swiftly on to the third and final pick of my assault rifle variations. This one is kind of an experimental one, and you can see this in games under the submachine gun class in various different versions, because this weapon it's kind of an oddball, it's kind of a goofy one, but the example I'm going to be using here is from Modern Warfare 2, even though you can find it in other games, and it does perform interestingly well. It is a kind of goofy looking bullpup by the name of the F2000, or the FN2000, and it usually comes with this huge proprietary scope on it, which I'm not a big fan of, and if you've ever played Splinter Cell, you've seen this gun before because it's actually the weapon that Sam Fisher mains in that franchise. But I would of course want it with different attachments and perhaps a coyote or iron sights, and in the example that I'm going to show you right now, you kind of get a good example of this machine at work. It's such a futuristic looking gun. And it suffered a little bit in Modern Warfare 2, which is the version I'm using here, because it was overshined by almost everything else in that game. In a game where everything was overpowered, you didn't really want to use the one gun that had a lot of awkward recoil and some serious downsides. But if anybody touched it in that game, you'll know that it was just a fun assault rifle you don't see too often. And that's one of the reasons I'd love to add it. It also has a pretty damn nasty fire rate too, which is kind of delicious. And if you know me, guys, I do like fast fire rates. I prefer them. But as far as the ARs go, that is my small and modest list of sexy guns I'd like to see added. I also can do this for SMGs if anybody's interested, because I definitely have some ideas for SMGs that I'd like to see. And then, I mean, there's a load of World War guns I'd like to see added, considering that they're doing a World War II Pass Part 2. And there's just so many on that list, isn't there, that I'd really like to see. Can you imagine the bar, guys? Browning automatic rifle. That thing is just a monster. Can you imagine an LMG with that kind of firepower? Small magazine, high damage, unreal capability, great range. It would just be delicious, wouldn't it? There are some serious World War guns I'd love to see represented. And we know we're getting the PPSH. We know we're getting the MP40. But there's so many more, and if you've played Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1, you're probably shouting right now, Ribby Rolls, you know, there's so many different names that you could be going towards. But that was just a little overview of 3 ARs I would love to see added to this game. And we know from the leaks and the Discord that they are going to be adding the HK-433, which for people that don't know the designation of that weapon, it's the Kilo from Modern Warfare, and apparently the current theory right now is that it's going to replace the AK as the default starting weapon, and the AK is going to be moved deeper into the leveling, which I think sounds like an awesome idea, because I love the idea of the AK being an unlockable, because an AK is kind of sacred, and this AK is really strong, so being able to unlock that and feeling that power is something it'd be nice that not every single nub that first joins the game gets to shoot me with. That being said, the Kilo shoots at like 700 RPM, dude. You're going to get another G36 on your hands if you're not careful, so it'll be interesting to see how they balance that. But along with that, they're hopefully going to give it the attachments that will let you turn it into the HK-416, which is the rifle before it evolved to that particular platform, which you saw in Bad Company 2. Very, very nice guns. And I don't know what other assault rifles they'll be added. I know that there's the rumours of the Mutant, which I think is the MK27, which is another beautiful looking futuristic gun that could literally be anything. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that's implemented. But what guns would you like to see, ladies and gentlemen? What do you want added to Bad Business? What is the gun that you'd like to run around with and dominate and get some nice blue diamond on because you're obsessed with using it? Feel free to share in the comments. Tell me what you would like. Tell me what gets you excited, as this list gets me excited. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I know these videos don't do too well because my community doesn't give a shit about Roblox, but I'm glad that you made it this far, and it means the world to me that you did so. You take care now.